The studio lights of The View burned bright on a crisp October morning in 2025, casting long shadows across the polished round table where the co-hosts sat like queens of daytime television. Whoopi Goldberg, ever the steady anchor, adjusted her microphone with a knowing smile. Sunny Hostin scribbled notes on her pad, while Sarah Haynes bounced lightly in her seat, her enthusiasm bubbling like champagne. And there, at the far end, was Joy Behar, fiery, unfiltered, her red lipstick a slash of defiance against the world. At 83, she was a battle-hardened veteran of hot takes and hotter tempers, her Brooklyn accent ready to slice through any pretense. Today's guest was a legend in his own right, Michael J. Fox, the man who had charmed generations as Marty McFly, outrun fate and Back to the Future, and later, with unflinching grace, stared down Parkinson's disease in his memoir No Time Like the Present. Now 64, Fox moved with the deliberate poise of someone who'd rewritten the rules of resilience. His new documentary, Still Moving, chronicled not just his fight against the illness that had trembled his hands for over 3 decades, but the quiet revolutions of hope he'd sparked worldwide. The audience of 200 women, mostly in their 40s and 50s, clad in autumnal sweaters, erupted in applause as he wheeled onto the set, his trademark grin lighting up the room like a flux capacitor sparking to life. "Ladies, what a treat," Whoopi boomed, her voice a warm rumble. "Michael J. Fox, welcome back to The View. We've missed you." Fox settled into the guest chair, his posture straight despite the subtle tremor in his left hand. He waved it off with a chuckle. "Whoopi, it's like coming home. Except last time, I think we talked about time travel, and I promised not to mess with the timeline." "No guarantees today." The laughter rippled through the crowd, easy and genuine. Sora leaned in first, her eyes wide with admiration. "Michael, your documentary is incredible. The way you talk about turning why me into why not? It's inspiring. How do you keep that optimism when—" "Well, you know." Fox nodded, his blue eyes twinkling. "Parkinson's doesn't ask permission, Sora. It just shows up. But I've got this rule: don't let the thing that's happening to you become the thing that happens to you. I choose the stories I tell. And today, I'm here to tell yours." The segment flowed like a well-rehearsed answer. Questions about his family, his foundation's breakthroughs in stem cell research, the cameos he'd snuck into indie films despite the odds. Sunny probed deeper into the science, her legal mind dissecting the politics of funding for rare diseases. Joy, however, had been unusually quiet, her fingers drumming on the table like Morse code for impatience. The audience sensed that a hush fell as Whoopi tossed the ball her way. "Joy, you've been awfully pensive. What's on your mind, Michael?" Joy's got that look like she's about to drop a truth bomb. Joy straightened, her gaze locking onto Fox like a hawk spotting prey. She was no stranger to controversy. Her barbs at politicians, celebrities, and even fellow hosts had made her a lightning rod. But this felt personal, laced with the edge of old wounds. "Michael, honey, I love your story. Really, you're a fighter, a survivor. But let's get real for a second. All this talk about optimism and choosing your narrative, it's great for a Hollywood ending. But what about the rest of us, the everyday Joes crumbling under healthcare costs, waiting years for a pill that might not even work? Your foundation raises millions, sure, but isn't it just another celebrity pity party? Band-aids on a broken system." The studio froze. A gasp echoed from the back row. Fox's smile didn't falter, but his eyes sharpened, the tremor in his hand steadying as if anger were the ultimate stabilizer. The audience shifted uncomfortably. This wasn't the feel-good chat they tuned in for. Sarah's mouth formed a silent "oh no," while Sunny's pen hovered mid-note. Whoopi jumped in, her diplomat's tone smoothing the edges. "Joy, come on. Michael's work has funded real trials, changed lives." But Fox raised a hand, gentle yet commanding. "No, Whoopi, let her finish." "Joy, I've got all day." His voice was calm, that boyish lilt from Family Ties undercut with steel forged in hospital waiting rooms. "Joy, undeterred, lean forward," her voice rising like a subway train gaining speed. "See, that's the problem. You waltz in here, all charm and quotes, but Parkinson's isn't a movie plot. It's a income, dignity, everything. And celebs like you get the best docs. the experimental drugs on silver platters. The rest of us were rationing insulin while you're hawking documentaries. It's tone deaf. Michael, brave, sure, but privileged as hell. The word privileged hung in the air like smoke from a backdraft. Whispers rippled through the crowd. A woman in the front row clutched her purse, her face a mask of conflicted empathy. Fox's jaw tightened, not in rage, but in the quiet fury of someone who heard it all before Rhea and lived it. He took a breath, deep and deliberate, the kind that anchors a man to the earth. Then, with the precision of a surgeon, he dismantled her. Joy, let's unpack that, shall we? Because I've got no silver platters. Diagnosed at 29, right when Back to the Future was exploding. I hid the shakes under sleeves, joked through the falls on set. Privileged? Try explaining to a director why your star can't hold a prop without it looking like an earthquake. Try telling your kids why dad's bedtime stories come with a side of slurred words. The audience leaned in, rapt. Joy opened her mouth, but Fox pressed on, his voice gaining volume without losing grace. You talk healthcare costs? My foundation's poured over $2 billion into research, and not for me, for the 10 million worldwide who don't have Whitby's Rolodex or my residuals. We fund trials in rural clinics, not just Beverly Hills. And pity party? That's your word, not mine. I've fundraised in ballrooms and backyards, from billionaires to baristas. Every dollar's a fight against the system you say I ignore. Joy's cheeks flushed, her usual retort arsenal faltering. But Michael, it's not what, Joy? Not fair. Life isn't. Parkinson's took my career's prime, my unshakable hands, but I didn't quit. I wrote books, lobbied Congress. Yeah, me, the guy who once tripped over his own lines in Spin City. Privileged? The privilege is surviving long enough to speak up. Yours? Sitting here, paid to opine, calling survivors tone deaf because their hope offends your cynicism. The studio erupted not in chaos, but in a wave of applause that started slow, like thunder rolling in, then crashed full force. Women stood, tears streaking faces, chanting Michael. Michael. Whitby pounded the table in approval, her laugh booming. Sora wiped her eyes, mouthing yes. To no one in particular. Sunny nodded furiously, her notes forgotten. Joy sat back, stunned, her fire dimmed to embers. For a beat, vulnerability cracked her arm, or a flicker of regret, perhaps, or the rare humility of being outmaneuvered. I didn't mean it like that, she stammered, but the words dissolved in the roar. Fox softened then, his destroyer mode yielding to the healer. He reached across the table, his trembling hand steadying on hers. Joy, we're both fighters. You for truth, messy as it is. Me for tomorrow. No hard feelings. But next time, ask about the work before assuming the party. The crowd cheered louder, a cathartic release. Whitby seized the moment, wrapping the segment in her signature hug fest. Now that's the why you are real talk, real heart. Michael, you're a gift. As the cameras cut to commercial, backstage buzzed with electric aftermath. Producers whispered about viral clips. The social media team scrambled for hashtags like #FoxFiresBack. Fox, wheeled off stage by his wife Tracy, who kissed his temple with quiet pride, turned to the hosts one last time. Ladies, thanks for the platform. And Joy, call me. We'll grab coffee. No cameras. Joy, recovering her spark, called after him. Only a few promised no time travel jokes. The laughter echoed as the doors closed. Outside, New York pulsed on, oblivious to the seismic shift in Studio 8H. But online, it was Armageddon. Clips exploded across TikTok, X, and YouTube, millions of views in hours. #Michael destroys Joy trend worldwide, spawning memes of Fox as a verbal DeLorean, zipping past Behar's barbs. Supporters hailed him as the ultimate underdog. Critics decried The View for ambush journalism. Joy issued a tweet later, tough love from a tough guy. Respect, at @MikeLGFox. Let's fix this system together. No pity, just progress. For Fox, it was just another Tuesday. Back home in the Hudson Valley, he sat with Tracy, watching the sunset paint the hills gold. The tremor returned, uninvited, but he laughed it off. Think I overdid the drama? He quipped. She squeezed his hand. Nah, you just reminded the world, optimism isn't naive, it's nuclear. And in living rooms across America, viewers paused their scrolls, inspired not by destruction, but by the rebuild. Because in the end, Fox hadn't just destroyed Joya, he dismantled doubt, one unflinching truth at a time.